Hi, this is Shannon coming to you from Afghanistan. This will be a 10-part series that I will call Shannon's Blitzes on OCD. It'll be short bursts of information about my strategy and my techniques on overcoming OCD. First, a little bit about me in case you haven't heard my story. I was diagnosed with a really severe case of OCD back in 1997, back at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, when I was a major on active duty with the United States Marine Corps. I'd suffered for many years not knowing what was wrong with me, but knowing something was definitely wrong. I suffered primarily from harm thoughts, feeling responsible for the safety of other people, and not really wanting to disappoint other people. Truth is, for about 2 years, I was in such a hell pit that I thought that every day it would be better to be dead than to live like I was living. Finally, one day in October 1997, after a very memorable episode, I sought help. OCD had convinced me that if I were to see a mental health specialist, that I would lose my job, I would get kicked out of the Marine Corps, I would lose my livelihood, and I would lose my family. I also thought it would be shameful and disgraceful to be diagnosed with a mental disorder. I was ignorant then. I know better now. Thank God I made the decision to be seen. The doctors saved my life, and they also put me on a path to wellness. I was put on medication and given some advice about cognitive behavioral therapy, which I remember it being called behavioral therapy back then. Through this process of trying to implement those steps, I developed my own strategy, which I call ground rules and checkpoints. That's what these videos will be about, ground rules and checkpoints. First, before we get to the ground rules, I want to say that I think it's important that there are 4 things everybody needs for recovery. A desire to get better. Hope that it's possible to get better. That's a belief, even the slightest belief that it's possible to improve. Third, motivation. Why do you want to get to a place where OCD doesn't adversely affect you? What's personal to you? Who do you love? What's important to you? Those things will drive you. And finally, a strategy. What are you going to do when OCD taps you on the shoulder? The strategy is a form of confidence, a source of comfort, because you can say, I don't care when OCD comes, I know what to do. Overcoming OCD is about changing your perspective about OCD and having a warrior attitude. I will not be denied. I will not quit. Think of it this way. You come to a fork in the road. If you go left, you know that you're doing something that makes OCD stronger and you're putting yourself back in that hell pit. Or you can choose to go right. That right path takes you to wellness. It's doing the things that make OCD weaker, even if it's difficult, because we know that that's a much better place to be than back in the hell pit. So the 5 ground rules. First, you don't have to be perfect at implementing the strategy. Just try your best. Second, treat OCD as something other than yourself. Tell yourself, I am not OCD. OCD is not me. Third, identify when you think OCD is the source of a thought, and then attribute it to that other entity, OCD. Fourth, allow the thoughts to be in your mind. Don't resist them, and don't try to replace them. And fifth, resist giving in to those compulsions at all costs. During this series, we will go through each one of those ground rules, and I'll give you the techniques that I use to implement them. So let's do it. I'm with you. OCD can be defeated. I'm living proof. Signing off. Bye-bye.